Alright, so before I keep going or get into anymore, I want to read something. I'd like to read something that I recently noticed. I had a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. I was looking for my new podcast, Occult Bullshit, or No Bullshit Occult Shit, on Apple Podcasts to see if it was there, and it wasn't. This was a couple nights ago, but at the bottom of the page I saw an actual review, 5-star review. Wasn't sure if it was for me. I don't think you'll be able to see the person's name, but anyways, the picture I put with the episode today, the re-upload of the No Bullshit Occult Shit first episode I did. Well, that's what the picture is. It's the picture of the 5-star review. But anyways, I'm just going to read it and just show my gratitude to that person and tell them that I really appreciate what they wrote. And it goes like this. You're awesome. I love that you play music during your intermissions that corresponds with my generation, my era, and I also love being able to hear your kids in the background. And although it's the only podcast I've ever heard so far, I've also loved the charm of hearing you yell and maintain order in your household amongst your various children. I also love the fact that you were on a basket. You are not pretentious, and I can tell that you have seriously followed the path in such a manner as to allow yourself to maintain firm planting on the earth itself whilst exploring the heavens and the inner environments just the same. I look forward to hearing more, and I most certainly subscribed. Like I said, this was in November 13th of last year, and I only saw it yesterday or the day before, and I was completely floored and like a little kid, all pickled shit, like all happy. It was beautiful. So I really want to thank the person who wrote this review and gave me 5 stars, and yeah, that is absolutely amazing. Thank you. You made my fucking day. Just to say. And I kind of dialed back on playing the songs, but maybe I will get back to it at some point. I lost a lot of the files that I had to turn into MP3s to be able to do that, and that's why I haven't been doing that, if you were wondering. But once I get those back, manage to recover them or get some more and transform them, I'll be getting right back to that as well. But I just wanted to start that off with a thank you to this person. Seriously, it really made my day. I appreciate it. So anyways, back to the newest episode. The reason I'm putting it on here, like I said, is just because I want to give it exposure, because I want people to understand that reprogramming your mind is just as important as doing the rituals and following the curriculums and all that. And I can go as far to say as if you can reprogram your mind, while you're sleeping, during your day, to a certain thing that you want to happen, you don't necessarily need to do the other stuff, but the other stuff will bring you more discipline. I've said it often, but by me just only intaking occult knowledge all day long, by doing the dishes, listening to stuff, listening to books, going to sleep with books on and all that, intentionally putting stuff in my mind. But if you are spending a significant amount of time only watching things that have to do to occult magic and the like all day long, it's not going to take that long of a time before you have this program inserted into you. So the only thing I would say is that's going to happen on its own. Now, at the same time, you don't want to have two conflicting programs. So if you are from a Christian background and you haven't rid yourself of that Christian background, and for some reason by inserting this new program it didn't by default get rid of the other one, then you need to identify those ones and do your best to remove them. And I've went over this, and it could be simply of you recording something that you accept the thoughts are, I am, a practicing magical practitioner from so-and-so craft, and I remove the programming that I was given or forced to believe as a child from my mother, my teachers, my priests, my pastors, whatever, of the Christian belief system and doctrine. I remove that and I replace it with, something to that effect. You listen to that every night. But seriously, the main reprogramming I do is the fact that I just listen to this stuff every day. I watch it like it's watching TV, and that alone has increased my abilities by way of putting this program in me, that the things I read, the things I do, the things I see about magic and how it's done, and the transformations and the positive outcomes, the what's Birch call it? Not Birch. Testimonials, that Frederick Xavier has. All those things over and over and over again are getting right into my subconscious mind. Especially if you do some of those things that, some of those brain exercises where you cross your arms, you cross your legs, because you're engaging both sides of the mind. A long time ago, Frederick Xavier said, when people pray, they put their hands together, right? They fold their hands together, and he said that's a sign of the subconscious mind. And it is. But more than that, when you do stuff like that, anytime your left hand crosses the center mark of your body over to the opposite side, while your left hand is controlled by the right side of your brain, but when you start crossing that over to the right side, then both sides of your brain are engaged. You can do this is what you do when you're doing breathing exercises. You are engaging, your subconscious mind, because it takes over, but yet you're still focusing on it, you're watching it. All these little tips and tricks to engage your subconscious mind while listening, while learning, while reading occult material will help program you faster. But likewise, what's going on with the media only focusing on this one thing, this virus, and getting people right into the subconscious mind. It's on the radio, it's coming out. People are talking about it around you that you don't even know about. It's in your feeds constantly on Facebook. All these things are also slipping into your subconscious mind. And I want the brand new, and even people like me that have been doing magic for 3 years now. I'm still pretty new, and I don't, I really gotta guard the gates of my mind. Like I said, I have thoughts or visions of my wife hitting an animal on the way home, and she hits that animal on the way home. So I don't need any of this stuff that I don't believe in slipping into my mind. Not that it puts me at danger, but my mind's connected to all minds. And if my mind thinks there's some truth to this, then other people might be at risk of, dying, being infected, whatever. Point is, there's a lot of power in repetition over and over, watching something, hearing something over and over and over again. I mean, it's no accident that it's like a 2-week period you gotta wait, and it's no accident that now they're saying it's going to be even more than 2 weeks, and expect this to go longer and longer. I just don't want anybody out there to get harmed or hurt that shouldn't be. We are more powerful than this virus, okay? We are more powerful than any of these man-made things. Everybody out there freaking out about this is more powerful than the people using this to con and control us. Somewhere down the line, someone may have realized that everybody's powerful and everybody creates their reality. But how do we become more powerful than everyone if everyone is just as powerful? Well, you gotta con them. You gotta play a trick on them. You gotta fool them, manipulate them. You gotta pretend like they don't have any power. Therefore, you can use their power, because they don't think it exists anyways, to make the world you want, to line your pockets, to, make yourself rich, to make you have what you want. And I say enough's enough. Let's stop doing that. Don't focus on this virus anymore. Focus on what you want. Focus on your things you want to manifest in your life. Okay? If you're super worried about this, well, then just straight up manifest that you have a strong immune system. It's impenetrable. Your visualizations can be a white light coming down and adding or healing all the cells that are in your immune system, removing any blood that's in your feet, in your hands, like fight or flight, bringing it back to where it's supposed to be, and it's strengthened. You can even make visualizations of little army cells fighting, and whatever the case is. The sky's the limit. You visualize yourself having the strongest immune system that takes everything down, then you have nothing to worry about. But I think it's just as, if not more effective, to simply keep visualizing something that has nothing to do with that virus, and it's what you want. Because this is like where I said, the weak from the strong. We are going to be separated. And if you want to be one of the strong ones, we got to stop focusing on what we're being told to focus on, and focus on what we want to focus on. Manifest what we want to manifest, not their fear-based bullshit. But anyways, I'm talking pretty low because, it's nighttime, everybody's sleeping. I don't want to wake anybody up, but I just wanted to add that to this episode. I have something else already recorded that I added that's kind of incoherent, but I'm going to play it anyways, and then I'll play the regular episode, and then everything that played after that. But yeah, once again, I want to thank the person who left that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Apple. Yeah, I think it's Apple Podcasts, and I really do appreciate it. And I hope you are like one of the people I'm talking about. You are not going to let this affect you. You are going to, you give out information to people as they need it. Like, for example, the whole Advil thing that just came out. No Advil. Well, it's not just Advil. It's also those like cortisol steroids. Not the same stuff that the stress hormone releases there. Not that cortisol or cortisone. I get those words mixed up. But anyways, there's I think it's cortisol. Anyways, it's a steroid, right? What it does is it reduces inflammation. Well, there's an anti-inflammatory also inside ibuprofen. When I was a child, I got stung by a bee in the eye really bad. And my mom brought me to the doctor because the swelling was insane. I couldn't see out of my eye. And she's like, is this normal? Is he having an allergic reaction? And the doctor said, well, allergic reaction would do something similar. He's like, but that's not what this is. The reason your son's eye is swelling so much is because he has a strong immune system. What the immune system does is takes affected area where there's been a venom, a poison, the bee sting, right? Whatever it was injected that was on the end of that stinger. What it does is swell up so it can't go anywhere else into the body, right? It gets stayed there, dealt with, and then removed from the body. The skin around the area gets so big that it can't penetrate and go deeper. It has nowhere but to go the opposite way, out of the skin, right? Because the bee punctured inside me, trying to get that venom to go inside me, deeper and deeper bloodstream, and then through into my vein, or into my bloodstream, I guess. Whereas my body is smart enough to say, oh yeah, well, we're going to poof it up. So we're going to create, you're going this way. Let's say you're going, it's got a negative polarity, right? Penetrated my skin, negative inside of me, or maybe that'd be positive, I guess. But what my body did was create the opposite polarity. Instead of allowing it to go that way, or even pushing it the same way it was going, it inflamed it. Made my skin swell up in the opposite direction of the venom, therefore pushing it to the edge of my skin. Therefore, eventually it gets rejected and comes out of my skin. Well, for if you look up ibuprofen or the steroids and stuff like that, I didn't do much research, and it's not completely clear, but they either reduce inflammation by suppressing your immune system, meaning if your immune system isn't quite as strong, it won't do that. It won't send whatever it has to send to make spots in your body inflamed where you're affected, or it'll just affect the general area, especially if it's like a topical cream or something like that. It'll just affect that area, reducing the swelling, but that also allows it, because this is whenever your body was fighting against it, but then when you reduce it, you're allowing whatever was put into there or whatever was causing that reaction to start moving again in the direction it wanted to go inside you, to affect you, to get in your bloodstream. And this is why these are not good if you suspect that you have coronavirus or anything like that, or don't use these things. Use Tylenol if you're having the fevers or whatnot. But I got that information with 5 minutes of research today. Everybody needs to shut off the media if they're serious about learning about this, and do their own research and figure their own shit out. Meditate on shit you don't understand. Just don't take their word for it when the only thing they focus on is the deaths and the rate that the infection is affecting people, and the craziness in the stores and shit like that. That's all they're focusing on. But there's many stories of people beating it. There's many stories of, like I said, the fact of the matter is, a person with a good immune system could still develop pneumonia from this coronavirus and have a fever, both really. And if something happens, if they had some other illness they didn't know about, well, there's a chance that maybe one of those two could wipe them out. People die from pneumonia every year. People die from just fevers every year. Some are drug induced, some are just flu induced. So I guess the point I'm trying to say is, if you inform yourself, this shit is way less scary. But there's not enough people out there doing that. And I think the reason why I keep reinforcing these videos and saying these things, and why I'm putting this on Ceremonial Witchcraft, even though I already added it to a new episode, is because I think people need to hear the information again and again and again. But anyways, I think I'm going to end it there. It's going to be a little mixed and matched, but but just so everybody knows, this is the episode that I created on the No Bullshit Occult Shit podcast, which is all under my name, under Spreaker. If you signed up at Spreaker, you see them all. If you have my YouTube, they're also all get uploaded there. The link for both of those was in my last ceremonial witchcraft episode in the description. There was a link that would bring you to the page for No Bullshit Occult Shit. There was a link there to bring you right to the episode, and there was a link to bring you right to my YouTube page. So check that out if you want. But this is going to also be the same video. Anyways, like I always say, be safe and have yourself a great fucking day. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ceremonial Witchcraft, Corey LeBlanc. No Bullshit Occult Shit, Corey LeBlanc once again. If you're ever trying to find any of these things, probably search Corey LeBlanc, Ceremonial Witchcraft, and see if you can find it. I think there's an issue with, it's a new show, right? So anytime you have a new show, you don't have, Ceremonial Witchcraft is on a ton of different fucking platforms, which is pretty cool. And for that reason, the No Bullshit Occult Shit is accepted on a bunch of different places as well. But it's not actually showing up yet. I don't know. I search it. Anyways, I have a bunch of different emails saying you're on Deezer, you're on Spotify. So they're on all these other places. I don't know. Well, I could find out where most people listen to, but, Anyways, point I'm trying to get at is, I know they don't say it anymore, but at one time you needed 5 episodes at least, and a few other criteria to get on Apple Podcasts and on iHeartRadio podcast to kind of even be eligible. Now it says I was submitted into iTunes, and when I download it, it'll play on my iTunes, but then it doesn't find it in my iTunes as my channel yet. So I'm still waiting for that to go through. And normally I wouldn't care, right? I'll just bang out 5 episodes pretty quick, smash them together. This way it's available to people. But there's a lot of shit going on right now in the world, and maybe some of this information is just me repeating over and over in different ways, but I think it's important that people know some stuff. Now, I'm going to do my best to stay clear, at least for this little bit, because in the rest of the episode I talk about it enough, but I want to stay clear of that pandemic virus bullshit, especially calling it what people are calling it, because you never know. It could be an egregore. but I will refer to that in certain places. But first thing I want to say, just basic, okay? My show, No Bullshit Occult Shit, is going to be at least initially right now, what I'm doing is going through all basic criteria, occult knowledge, but like initiation occult things. That I think all basic occultists, magical practitioners, witches, magicians, whatever, should all know, or do or use. I'm going to eventually get into maybe things that is not occult. So that would be the bullshit part of the occult shit. So I'm not going to give you bullshit occult shit. I'm going to give you the no bullshit version of occult shit. And yes, the mind doesn't understand the no, but you guys, your conscious mind does understand the no. So therefore, I'm going to tell you, so there might be some episodes of what occultism isn't, what things you might have heard to do that may not serve you, or at the very least, I don't like being broad like that, because maybe some things work for some people, or maybe they didn't work for them, but because they did something else, it seemed like it worked, so who knows. But point is, I'm going to try to give you, a landscape of different areas that I've done well in, or done without maybe necessarily telling you the exact thing. I'm having a hard time explaining what I'm trying to explain, but as of right now, what I'm focusing on mainly is belief systems, programming, okay? And if you think that that's new agey and that has nothing to do with occultism, well, I would say you're fucking wrong, because that is occultism. One big fundamental thing that I get when I read the Kabbalion, okay? All the rules that we follow in the Kabbalion, okay? All those laws. Well, they're not necessarily, well, there are rules and laws to go by when doing your magic, absolutely. But there are also the laws and rules that you will go on autopilot. Because cause and effect is great if you are at the cause and you're creating the effect you want. But if not, you are going to be at someone else's cause, and then they're going to be reaping the effect, and it doesn't matter whether that's creating a pandemic and getting everybody's fear and harnessing that fear to do something, whether it's, depopulate, whether it's push out any would-be or trying to be practicing occultists and magical practitioners, whether it's to shut down truth, whether it's to put us in martial law, who the fuck knows? I don't know. Is this a fucking created thing, or is it just pure accident? Is this Mother Earth retaliating? Who the fuck knows? No one can know. But what I want to discuss, basically, I'm going to use this disguise, for at least the next few episodes. And the reason I'm putting the episode that I made for no bullshit occult shit, on Ceremonial Witchcraft is just because, it hasn't had much scenes yet. It's not for me to get more fucking whatever and have a really good episode. It's really not about that for me. Otherwise, I'd be telling you to subscribe. I'd be making more videos on YouTube. I'd be making fucking merch. I'd be doing everything in my power to fucking become popular. And that's just not what I'm going for. If that happens as a byproduct, that's fucking cool, but it's not what I want and or need. So the next episode I'm going to make of No Bullshit Occult is going to also be on that channel, and that will be the place to go to it first, and then I may end up putting it on Ceremonial Witchcraft as well. So until I get to that 5 video mark, I might have some doubles, which I'll have to delete later on because it takes up space, and I only have so much space, and then I have to go up to the next package, and I already think 3-hour episodes every time is too long. For some reason, I can't stop doing them. So that just is what it is, as I always say. But once again, that being said, wow, that's a nice Camaro. Huh. Anyways, well, that cop's totally going after his ass. He's got his light on to see his fucking shit and everything. Sorry about that. Anyways, so all that being said, in the episode you're about to hear, I talk about how you're going to, Bruce Lipton talks about, I play him at the end, just so you know where I'm getting the information, but Bruce Lipton talks about how if you want to know what programs you have that are in your favor or not in your favor, and it's simple. You look at what's going on good in your life, what do you have no trouble doing that maybe some other people have trouble doing, then, you've been programmed to do that. And look at some of the stuff that you have trouble doing yourself that maybe some people that just comes to, and they can't even explain to you how they have those things just happen to them. And by that point, and this is when I say, well, if you can see those things, if you can monitor those things, if you can track down those things, well, then write them down. And then this is where you're programmed and programmed for and against yourself. What was inserted in you, what you were forced into believing, or maybe what you accepted, or what you rejected when you should have accepted, or what you put as either bad or good. And, anything you put as bad, that would make you, if you put something bad, like money, I use money as an example often because, it's easy to understand. If you think money is bad or money is the root of all evil, well then, and you're trying to manifest money right now using magic, well, just because you're using your subconscious mind doesn't mean you're going to have what you want. It doesn't mean you're going to get the money you're asking for, and you're going to say, well, magic's bullshit. Well, no. Your programming is powerful. You have to use magic within the programming that you have. If you have programming stopping your magic, one of two things happens in my experience and in the experience of the people that I learn for and I promote on this channel. You'll either get the money, the magic will come through somehow, but then you'll lose the money or you'll have to spend it on something that wasn't why you wanted it for, like you'll get the $2,000, but then your transmission goes, and then you might even have to spend even more fucking money. Something to that effect, or it just won't manifest. So it's going to be one of the two, and that's because you have a programming there. And, if you manage to sneak by the subconscious and get your magic to work, well then, you're probably a pretty powerful person because most of the time that won't even sneak by. The subconscious will be like, no, we know that's bad. We've watched movies, the Bible, all these things told us over and over and over again that greed and money is bad, and we don't want to be the bad guy because if we're the bad guy, well, that's bad. We want to be the good guy. Everybody's automatic default is being the fucking good guy. So that's something that's going to stop you, which is why you need to do your programming, which is why, once again, when you're doing an initiation, if you take a whole year to do the neophyte grade, you become depolarized. So if you have the money is bad programming in you, well, becoming depolarized is going to move your scales on you a little bit. Because bad and good are going to be blurred between the lines. You know what I mean? It's hard to think money is the root of all evil when you're depolarized, when you can see the good and bad. You start realizing that money is just an energy. And over that course of the year, it'll change that programming. So I know I've said it in other ways before, and if those other ways help you, great. But another way of looking at it is simply that you're doing something over and over again to depolarize yourself so fucking often that by default or just by habit alone, you're reprogramming your mind to believe that money is an energy. If all your childhood, you heard and were told that money is the root of all evil, well, then you got programmed that. But if for the last year you were here listening to things saying money is just an energy, people can be either good or bad, but blah, 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 blah. There's no really good or bad. It's just things that have to be done in the time to make other things happen for the common, for a greater good, whatever. But you're hearing that money is just an energy. Money is neither good nor bad. You hear that over and over and over again. Well, that can literally reprogram you. So that's the point I'm trying to make right now. And it's simply to say that if you want something, you identify what the fuck it is you want. And I say go big. Don't just say, I want this money. I want this car. No, I want this lifestyle. I want this job. I want this. I want that. But like big. And then you figure out what kind of personality, what kind of mindset, what kind of whatever it takes to either get or maintain that. And then that's what you become. That's what you do affirmations. That's what you listen to recordings to every night to become that thing. And it will be so by doing that. That's what I want to talk about. And likewise, if you want to protect yourself from from that virus, sorry, I almost said the fucking name there, you can do the same concept. You could directly say that you're protected from it every single night, affirm that it can affect you every night. You can affirm that you have a strong immune system and that, you are inoculated to any and all disease anyways, you can directly go for that, but another way of just not giving it any attention, any energy, Then every time someone brings it up, which is a lot, but every time someone talks about it, you reject, you banish, you fucking deny it, okay? You do all that. You get it away. You get it gone. Reject, banish, deny that shit away. The thought of you getting it, of anybody you know getting it, you don't put any emotion into it at all. You don't visualize it. You don't do none of that. But instead, you accept whatever it is that you do want. And then that's what you visualize, and that's what you go to sleep. There's nothing saying that if you're trying to get a promotion or land a new job or start a business or become a popular podcaster or something to that effect, all of a sudden this big virus comes around, taking people out. Well, there's nothing saying that you have to stop what you were just putting energy into, okay, to start protecting against this thing. I'm not saying that at all. In fact, I'm saying the opposite. By you focusing your mind on what you want exclusively and not paying any attention to this crap is probably even more effective than saying, I'm protected from this crap. Because, that's still acknowledging that this is powerful. It's still giving it energy. And the best way to not give something energy is just to give something else energy. I don't know why this could be happening, and I always fight these thoughts, this inner voice. There's something I keep hearing and being told by all these different ways that I won't get into, and I'm trying to fight it because I don't want to be that guy saying this stuff, and because I don't want to take something that's fear-based and try to, warn everybody it's fear-based, don't pay attention to it, and then go on some more deeper fear-based shit through the lens of kind of controversy and conspiracy, because there's no way to prove it, but there's something about this that doesn't sit right with me. Because there's a lot of practicing occultists nowadays. There's a lot of people getting into magic. There's even more people just in truth movements. There's, you know what I mean? And people normally in truth movements, if they don't get stuck there, they generally go over to spiritualism or activism, whatever, you know what I mean? They evolve from wherever they are. And the fact of the matter is, if you stopped watching TV, and started taking back your mind, but then something like this comes out, well, this is very hard for a new initiate into the magical, spiritual, great art. It's very hard for someone getting into the great work to fucking ignore, because it wasn't that long ago that they were watching this shit. Maybe they just finished their fear-based media stage where they realized that the news was mostly bullshit, because they're always just they always have these 4 or 5 different topics of fucking all fear-based shit. It's like, why don't they ever focus on anything good? And even more than that, why is, anyways, point is, you look into it, you find out it's not real, you find out all these other things are not real, right? You lose your beliefs, your belief systems start falling, so on and so forth, okay? Well, maybe it wasn't that long ago. There's people that are trying to take back their mind, so they're doing their daily rituals every day, their middle pillars, the reject, banish, deny, all of a sudden this thing happens. Maybe they have kids, maybe they have parents, maybe they know people with disease, so maybe they get worried, so maybe they try to keep an eye on it, and maybe even more than that, they're forced to go home and not do their job. So at that point, it gets very hard for someone to stick to magic and not give any of their mind power, their focus, their energy to this thing that is taking over their life, and they feel like they can't, they're not in control anymore. You know what I mean? But here's the kicker. If you started guarding the gates of your mind, started trying to use this, then you are maybe not quite there yet, but you're, like in vampire movies, right? Well, I think it was Twilight. A brand new vampire is really dangerous because all they want to do is feed over and over again, right? And that's what happened. I think it was in Seattle, whatever. People were dying left, right, and center. And then the other vampires had to go and fucking kick the little baby vampire's ass because they're out of control. Well, your mind right now is fragile like that. And it could be easily, and it's a terrible metaphor, I know, but it could be easily taken and something can be manifested with it. And that's just my opinion, but because you're beginning to lose your belief systems, and you're beginning to adopt new ones, and you're depolarizing, and there's this power within you, and you're very strong right now because you don't know what to believe, and your emotions might be all over the place, and emotion is the power that is given into this thing. So what I'm trying to say is, if there's enough people in that stage right now, and this is starting to consume their minds, well, even though they may not be weak or old or have a disease, the thought of this alone and enough of their fear, knowing what they now know, if they're learning correctly, that, emotion plus, what you visualize, what you think, what you say, will become your reality. Well, if they're watching this shit over and over again, falling asleep to the TV when it's on, saying the shit in their head, then it's going to become real in their fucking life. And that's not something we want. We don't want a bunch of brand new occultists, magicians becoming infected with this bullshit. You know what I mean? So, and it's things like that make me think, like, well, is this like a Hail Mary? Like, we're losing. We need to throw a fucking big disaster out there and, just see what happens and see how many people we can get back. Or maybe it's to kill off the old. And I'm sorry, I know it sounds terrible, and then we have newer generations that are easier to form their minds. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I got this thing itching at me because it's all just nonsense that's being spewed out there, and it drives me crazy to think about it. But here's the thing, okay? Magic. Okay, magic is using your mind to create your reality, right? And that's very vague. It's not even probably correct, but basically what you do is you insert a belief system. You insert, whatever religion it is, whatever spirituality it is, okay? Within that spirituality, you have, okay, well, this is how we manifest. We manifest with visualization, with emotion, and to that thought, and then we set it, forget it, and then, we would focus only on one thing at a time, and they end up coming into our life through synchronicity. Okay, so that's how we do this. So now you inserted that belief system versus the one you had prior to that, and then this thing comes out. And what it is basically a bunch of people arguing on how, what, when, where, and then the government and the media give us vague details on how people are being infected, how people are dying. They're really only fucking reporting on the rapid speed of infection and the people that die and nothing else. But the point is, you don't want a belief system to be created in you that this thing is real, it's in your reality, and it can affect you. But if you're at that weak stage where, you don't have a belief system and you really want one because you don't know if you want things to go back the old way or a better way, or you're right before good things can happen, well, it could be detrimental. I'm not saying this right. I'm gonna stop it there. I'm gonna collect my thoughts, get my notes, and go over it again there, but because I really don't want to confuse this. I'm the only damn John Wayne left in this fucking town. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Actually, it's more like I'm the only Aleister Crowley left in this damn town, and I'll saddle up my horse. Whoa. Sorry, I'm in a really good mood today. I don't know why. The world is going to shit around me, but I don't give a fuck, because that ain't my fucking world. Holy fuck. I can't believe that the province of Ontario is now in a state of a fucking emergency. Like, man, someone needs to get on the fucking radio, on the horn, on the TV, on whatever the fuck they need to get on, and tell everybody, please stop panicking. You're making it fucking worse. You stupid fucking whores. You're making all yourselves curse. Something like that. That's what I'm gonna do. But anyways. So, no bullshit occult shit is going to be coming on there very soon. If it's not right now, if this is not the episode I'm using this recording for, well, then it's going to be the next episode coming out. So stay tuned for that shit. If you're not already tuned into that shit, like I said, I make recordings and I just put them wherever I want. And I'm not going to edit them. You get it raw, baby. Raw dogging it. But anyways, so I played Bruce Lipton for my coronavirus video. Very important stuff there. And I think for the no bullshit occult shit, I think for my first episode, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play him again. And I'm going to say, this is what everybody should be doing. If they're trying to fucking manifest in their life, boom, right here, what he said. If you are having problems in your life, first of all, if you have talents in certain areas, let's say you're like me. Use myself as an example. I'm very athletic, good at sports. I've got a very, I'm not scared to do anything, play anything, whatever, When it comes to that, anyways, when it comes to sports, I'm very confident. I can go play. I can play any fucking sport, and I can dominate. Can be pretty good. I'm going to be one of the top. There's a lot of people, top 20, top 10. There's only a few people, definitely going to be top 5. I know that right off the hop. So from the early age, Maybe I showed the talent first, and then my parents said it. Maybe my dad and my mom whispered in my ears as a kid that I was going to be a great hockey player, baseball player. I'm going to be athletic. I'm going to be, whatever. And maybe I started showing that because remember the stories of me and my sister at Archie's when they used to make a skating rink, where Archie's is a place. It's only a par 3 for like golf, and it's a mini putting place and a driving range, and you get ice cream and all that. But anyways, where you drive the balls in the driving range, they used to freeze that shit, and then you can go skating on that in the winter. Now they don't do that anymore. They used to have a slide 2 at one point, but then liability this, kids getting hurt that, parents suing this, and fucking rich fucking greedy fucks try to ruin it for everybody. You want to be a rich greedy fuck, you want to get rich, do it, but just don't do it at the sacrifice and fun things to do for kids. Not that it's gonna matter because this coronavirus shit going on. No one's gonna be allowed to do nothing. Now, I got listeners from Australia to Africa to England to places in South America, mainly the States. And it's like 70% of my people that listen to me are from the United States of America. And it's all over. It's Alaska to Hawaii to fucking Cali to fucking Texas. I'm in the Bible Belt, baby. And that tells me that the Bible Belt's changing, baby. And I love that. Not that I have anything against the Bible. I think... Sorry, I'm all stuffed up. I'm getting coronavirus. Shit. No, but I think seriously, even the Bible could be used in a better fucking light. We could change, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, thou shalt not suffer a righteous Christian to fucking live. Because they think their shit don't stink, and if you go smell it, it stinks. Therefore, that should be the grounds that we execute them fuckers at. No, that's not right either. I don't want a world where we're executing anybody. But if it's between me or them, I'm going to pick them. But anyways, well, what I'm supposed to talk about here today, I want to talk about the fact that if you are good at something, you are programmed most likely to be good at that. All right? And if you have trouble getting something, whether that's money, whether that's a lover, whether that's, there's just procrastination maybe, doesn't matter. But where you're struggling the most right now, you're trying to overcome most likely. Somewhere where you've been programmed against your own will. And as a beginning step, as the first episode of No Bullshit Occult Shit, well, right there is a great way to start. It's not my idea. It's my man Bruce Lipton's idea. But he studied the brain. He was a biologist. He was a neurologist, PhD, whatever. He was a doctor. He was working with stem cells, which he realized that you can take cells out of the fucking body, and them cells will do them. They still keep going like they're in a body. And depending on what proteins you put in front of them, whether it's, and he uses this as a metaphor for negative or positive. But, he puts it in front of them, and it's positive protein, they latch on. He puts a negative protein in front of it, they move away from it. So even the cells know difference between quote-unquote good and bad. You take what you want out of that. I know what that means to me. But anyways, point of all of this is to say is that he is giving you ways to identify your programming, and he tells you straight out. Now, Frederick Xavier, I've learned a lot from the man, and I'm pretty sure he said this down the line as well. But Birch was the first one I heard the idea from, and it was to reprogram yourself. He did it at a young age. He did it with tape recorders and all that. Lipton says the same fucking thing. You want to talk directly to your subconscious, but when your conscious goes to sleep, it cannot block anything. It cannot do anything. Therefore, consciously, you want to protect your subconscious. You better put wards up. You better do things when you go to sleep if you're magical and you think people are against you. But that shit aside, if you want to reprogram, stop certain programming, whatever the case may be, you want to fucking change something in your life, go to sleep every fucking night listening to something that you want to fucking happen, and it shall be done. Simple as fucking that. Sorry, I'm just lighting up a smoke before I go back into work. But anyway, so save a horse, ride a cowboy. Sorry, I was listening to that song. I don't know why. I'm not big into country, but for some reason that Big and Rich song comes on, man. I'm fucking jumping up and down. I love, what is it, violin? That fucking thing you put on your neck with the fucking... Anyways, I love that shit. Punk band, Oceans Avenue, what the fuck, Yellow Card. They used to play a lot of violin in their song. It was pretty damn good. I used to like that shit. Anyways, I like a lot of violin. I love Flogging Molly. I love fucking Dropkick Murphys. I don't remember if they have violin. I'm pretty sure they do, but definitely Flogging Molly does. Anyways, the point is that song gets me pumped, but I was just listening to it. It's fucking awesome. But anyways, so yeah, no occult shit, bullshit. First thing you should do, identify your programming. Get rid of that. Now, the first step still is reject, banish, deny. 100%. But I've went into that in so much depth in Ceremonial Witchcraft that I don't think I need to touch it here. But to say banish, reject, deny is your first step. But then after that, you do your ritual magic if that's what you want to do. But I guess no bullshit occult shits for people who may not be doing ritual magic. They might just be witches. They might just be doing them. Who knows, okay? But you want to reprogram your mind. You don't have to do a transformation progress. It's going to help. I mean, by all means, but you don't have to do ritual magic to change your life. You really don't. I think it's a good way to get shit done. I think it's a good way to purify your temple, especially if you're doing lesser banishing of the pentagram. And then you change that up to the hexagram, which is going to keep you younger by definition. The lesser banishing of the hexagram gets Saturn to reduce his limitation on you. And by definition, that fucking lightens the load of all the planets because he's the god of this realm. For some reason, anyways, I won't get into all that. No occult shit, bullshit. Or no bullshit occult shit. Anyways, this is just the first little introductory episode. If it goes on there, and if not, this is going on Ceremonial Witchcraft as a small episode just to tell people to stay tuned to take a look at no occult shit, bullshit, or no bullshit occult shit from time to time. But anyways, so first step in defining programming anyways, not necessarily on your magical path, but if you are New Age and you're kind of finding that, the New Age stuff is great, you love listening to the New Age stuff, it helps you out in so many ways, it helps you not be so, angry or whatever, but maybe you haven't manifested anything yet. Well, why don't you try listening to some Bruce Lipton, okay? You're going to get New Age, you might as well listen to him. Greg Braden, the other dude that hangs out with all of them is, I can't remember his name, but he's got a lot of good shit to teach you. The Three Amigos, I believe. Anyways, I'm going to cut it off there for now because I go back to work, but yeah, I'll finish this up after. Okay, so, like I said, this is going to be a quick episode, and I have decided to put this on no occult shit, bullshit, so I'm actually going to put an episode on Ceremonial Witchcraft to just point people this direction. But anyways, I want to do a few corrections before I keep going. When I say righteous Christians, I meant self-righteous Christians. So what I meant to say was we should change the verse in the Bible from thou shalt not suffer a witch to live to thou shalt not suffer a self-righteous Christian who is, condemning witches and any other magical practitioner and saying we need to die or whatever the case is. Well, those fuckers should eat their own fucking sword first. But anyways, and earlier on I started describing Archie's and then I got caught up in what I was talking about. But Archie's, there was a skating rink back there and me and my sister would go there with my parents when we were both young, and I had such determination that, I was falling, as was my sister, but my sister didn't want to keep going, didn't want to keep trying, whereas I would just get up on my own and keep doing it. And, I think that was like the first or second time my mom said I skated, and before we left there, I was skating on my own. I was going around, and I was falling, I was getting back up, I was moving around, and, I think I was even trying to go backwards by the end of it. So that's kind of my point. Whether that started my programming, whether that was part of my programming, or whether that's because of my programming is irrelevant. It's pretty much all of the above. I had the programming that I was going to be a good hockey player, a good skater, and that manifested. And by doing that, instead of me giving up or whatever the case is, I had also the determination programming in me as well, and that carried with me in school because I had to be the first one to count to 100, then 1,000, then 10,000, then, eventually to 1,000,000, which we didn't even have to do, but I did it. Well, 100,000, then 1,000,000, but point is I had that determination all through school. I ended up losing it a bit, thinking I was one of the cool kids whenever the programming got, sidetracked to following friends instead of parents. But point is, that was something I still maintain today. You can put me on a pair of skates and, I can fly around most people except for really exceptional skaters. But, when it comes to identifying your programming,
And I'll play Birch after so you can hear him again, even though I played it before. But identify programming, well, that's something I was programmed positively that I don't want to fuck up. So anything that may be along those lines, if I'm trying to remove programming, I don't want to do anything to affect that unless I see myself like, let's say I moved to the Amazon where there's no fucking ice. Well, I don't really need that. So if it came down to it and I had to lose it, I could. And I always think it's better to remove something and put something in. But generally speaking, you have enough bad things to take out that you shouldn't take out any good programming you have. But that's a way to identify your good stuff. And it's always easy to do that. It's always helpful to do that. Identifying all your good programming is a good way to get the ball rolling. So if you're sitting there trying to identify your bad program, it's like, well, fuck, what am I bad at? And, because you're trying to think about it, right? So it's hard. So go the opposite direction. Start thinking of all the things you are positively programmed at. And likewise, I keep saying by definition, but, just by doing that, you're going to start thinking about the opposite ways that you've been programmed. And it's going to help spark that thought in your mind, even though you're not actually thinking about it, because, it's the opposite. Sorry about that. Popcorn had to be made for my kids, and I am at home. I'm no longer at work. But anyways, so yeah, by definition, by proxy, nope, by default, by default, if you are thinking of all the ways you're positively programmed, well, then you're going to think of all the ways that you're probably negatively programmed that go along with that, especially if you start prying into the past. And this is something that's helpful for all things if you're trying to think of something, right? If you can't think of something, if you're trying really hard to think of something, okay, it doesn't matter what it is. Now, if an example would probably help, but I'm not going to give you one, so figure it out yourself. You just have one. You're trying to think of positive programming, well, think about your negative programming. Go with the easier one first. Just get your mind flowing, and from there, things will flow. So if you're trying to think of something, movie, a name, it doesn't matter. Get something else going first. Look for something else. It's in the general vicinity of that, and it'll spark something. It's an easier way to do it. I said before, trying to think of someone's name, I think of anything that's associated with that person. Lines, movies, characters, people they played with, things that I remember in my mind, and it'll eventually spark it. That's a good way. But if you're just constantly focusing on just the name, you're pushing it further and further away. So, rule of thumb, trying to think of something, think of either the opposite something or anything that surrounds that person, and try to, light that match, and you're trying to get it sparked. But nothing sparking, well, stop just trying over and over again on the same spot. Go to different spots, and it'll work better. But anyway, so there's a couple things I wanted to just clear up there. So yeah, by identifying your negative programming, you can start writing down. It doesn't have to be exactly what the program is. All you have to do initially is write down the things that you have trouble with, whether that's saving money or even making money or keeping a job or having friends or meeting a mate. Just go to bed and you're like, well, Corey, how do I meet a girl? How do I do that? By programming myself every night to sleep. Like, what do I say? I'm great at meeting women. No, just, write a statement of intent. That'll help first. I have earlier videos to handle all this in ceremonial witchcraft. Maybe even magic on a budget, but I'm pretty sure the early one's ceremonial witchcraft. And it's maybe not necessarily exactly for this purpose or an example, because I never had to do this per se. But if I was trying to find a mate or a woman, which I'm not, but if I was, I would, ask for a partner, a person that I could be sexually active with, that can help, if I wanted to live with them, help pay my bills, somebody I get along with, and if it's as late as your first person you're ever dating, okay, well, you don't want to say, I want to meet the love of my life, because first person you date, you're going to fuck up and you're not going to last, so you don't want to meet the love of your life on that first try. You want to meet somebody that's going to teach you something that you might not be too attached to. You gotta think rationally about something as serious as a partner, especially if you're going for the gusto. Like if you're saying, I want just Mr. Right to come. Well, how is Mr. Right going to come if you're not right in your head yet? I don't even think I am, and I'm married, so that's an issue. But, to each his own. Point is, find the places where you're negatively programmed. Find the things you struggle at. Find the things you fuck up at. Find the things that are the hardest for you. Find the areas where you seem to always make mistakes, or you're always fighting with your wife or your spouse or your brothers and sisters or your classmates, whatever the case is. That's how you identify that programming. Now I'll move on to reject, banish, deny. Now, I said I've covered that in depth, and that's true. The only thing I want to add to what I said about that was simply coronavirus. You banish, reject, deny all the thoughts you ever have of you getting it. Simply put, let's say you're the type of person, okay, I believe you, Corey, there might be something there to it, but I believe that worrying is the worst thing you could do because of the cortisol that gets sent down and shuts off your immune system, sends blood to your arms and feet. I believe you. But let's say you're still worried about it because the media is playing it over and over again, and they're doing it on purpose to make it fearful. And I get it. Turn off the fucking media. Do your own goddamn research, first and foremost. Second of all, every time you get a thought of what if my parents get it? What if my family gets it? What if my granddad gets it? What if my grandma gets it? What if my auntie who's, 65 gets it? Banish that thought. I reject that thought. I deny that thought. I accept the thought that so-and-so has a strong immune system. I accept the thought that coronavirus doesn't exist in my reality. I accept the thought, well, don't say don't exist. I accept the thought that I am free from coronavirus in my reality. I will thee so motive be harm-free. Corey LeBlanc, magical name, magical sigil, something to that effect. Man, you can fucking go to sleep every night with that in your mind, but it's pretty specific. But anyways, but that's what I would do for the mate. Whatever you want, the attributes. You cast for the attributes. You don't just cast for someone. You don't cast for a specific person. Unless you say, I want to date this person so they can teach me how it feels to date that person, and something very, vague. So nothing bad happens. But anyways, so that's what I want to say about that. And, accept that you're protected. So your talents will show when programs in favor or positive.